Hey guys, it's Matt. Welcome back to Midnight Reality. Lots of different things to discuss today, starting with the No Truth or Child Left Behind segment. As we typically do, we'll reiterate some of the basics as to what reality has been doing to the real spiritual being for thousands of years. The trick today is really no different than the trick of the past. It's just in a little bit different form with its greater technology. It has more tools and resources at its disposal. And yes, we will continue to talk about the reality as a whole. And I'll continue to jump on truth researchers and conspiracy channels that look at their little conspiracy and keep on their specific topic. If you're not looking if you're not looking at reality as a whole, you're lost. But more on that coming up in a little bit. But first, just some quick channel notes before we get started. The person that called me an asshole in the waiting room of my father's doctor's office, he's had a profound effect on my life since it's happened. I think I was entirely in the wrong, and I'm working very hard to improve myself. He was in the chair and he looked up at me and said, "You're an asshole!" I'm telling you, this is one of the life-changing moments. You could call it a milestone, and I will become a better person because of it. You'll be able to see the difference as these videos goes on. A little bit of notes on the Christmas season coming up. My Truth Buddy will be available for the Christmas season. It's not yet on Amazon, but it will be available. $66.66. My voice will come out of its stomach whenever you squeeze the stomach, and it'll say profound statements of truth. It'll give all sorts of advice. There'll be Humpty Dumpty quotes, all sorts of things. Right now, we're targeting $66.66, and it's being manufactured by Foxconn as I speak. Let me return to this image for just a few minutes for the No Truth or Child Left Behind sponsored segment. If you're long-haul trucking, keep your eyes on the road. You almost never need to see an image that I put up. It just helps me manage the conversation. You've all seen these conspiracy posters. We've talked about them many times in the past. Here's somebody's put up on the wall and framed it like they're proud of all the different topics. Hopefully they're not still investigating. But for the No Truth or Child Left Behind segment, you know what I'm going to say. If you are still in the middle of this, and unlike most of us here, haven't left it behind, haven't stepped out of the bog, or if you're a truth research or a YouTube channel that is on or focused on your specific conspiracy topic and you're not talking about reality itself, you can continue with your specific topic that you've become an expert on. But if you're not blending that or combining that with a discussion about what reality itself is up to, then you're lost. Every conspiracy researcher / YouTube channel must be, at this point, talking about reality itself at the highest level on the org chart, even if you're not willing to leave your specific topic or conspiracy behind. Okay, I'm an expert at this topic, but how does this fit into what reality is trying to do to the real spiritual being as a whole, which is one sentence? And see, as we've said, guys, this doesn't leave a lot of room for the conspiracy research channels that have their own specific topic. I don't think they like me very much if people resonate with my message. Because as I've thought, I thought I'd be out of here like shit through a goose 3 or 4 years ago. Saying, well, reality, we see what it's doing at its highest level. We see that if you're focused on its specific conspiracy, you've completely lost and taken the bait. Reality itself, what it wants to do to the real spiritual being is like one sentence, which leaves me and every other researcher or conspiracy channel with no place to go. And for the old guard getting restless, just 1 or 2 more minutes. Again, we have 1 or 2 new people a month, although when I looked at my statistics the last time, it said -18 on -18 for the month, but it's actually been positive for 6 months. So guys, you look at the conspiracy map like this. You know what I'm going to say? 1 more minute. No real world could have this many things to chase. It's impossible. It proves fake world by itself. No real world could lay these sorts of breadcrumbs where if you go and investigate it, what happens? Nothing? You just go home and have a snow cone? No, it will keep feeding you. This is impossible. If there were more than 100 topics on here, let alone 1,000, 100 by itself would be impossible. Reality itself and screen reality at the outer ring is a conspiracy generation machine for us, for our type of person that questions. For others, or your Aunt Ginny, it's something else. It morphs itself into a distraction that is set up and fit and customized for each person looking to take the distraction into their mouth. What sort of real world can mold a different form of distraction so each different type or iteration of the real spiritual being can accomplish what it's supposed to accomplish in life? For us, it provides a big, gigantic Thanksgiving mashed potatoes helping of conspiracy. Put your plate out right now. For our plate, and for those that question, it provides never-ending conspiracy. Once you can see the big picture, say, wait a second, there's something going on here. It's trying to get my attention. I've spent 25 years trying to determine what really happened to the Titanic. Was it for the insurance money? Was it because the Fed was about to meet at Jekyll Island? Blah, 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 bullshit. But you know, if you've put that, here's where it gets you. Here's where it knows it can put the hooks into you. Reality itself, not nilC reality, outer screen, the asshole dark, the plumber's ass crack. It knows if you've put over 20 some years into your specific topic, you have too much invested in that topic. You're unwilling to leave it behind or unable to leave it behind. And you don't have to leave it behind, especially if it's your hobby. I've said this several times. As long as you see where it fits in and understand what reality at the highest level of the org chart is trying to do to you. For us, it provides conspiracy. For your brother, it does other things. For your cousins and Aunt Ginny, it morphs itself into other forms of distraction. But to our type of person that questions the news and says, Anderson Cooper, you're some full of shit entity from the lower planes of hell. To our type, it's our sweet ambrosia. It knows it's conspiracy. We're addicted, and it knows exactly how to get us. And it floats its topics before us, and the ones we're addicted to, and what really happened to the side of the Pentagon, and mud flood, and Tartaria, and the old topics of Bigfoot, and Yeti, and, and the Loch Ness Monster, and then space, and how far have people really gone, and what really is the moon? Thousands and thousands. Our sweet ambrosia, because we know things don't add up at the level of Anderson Cooper 360 or whatever bullshit shows that he hosts. Our sweet ambrosia is conspiracy, and it knows it, and it dangles it before us, and most of us go yum 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 yum. We just gobble it up, but a few of us see that this is the trick itself, and we've dusted ourselves off or stepped out of the bog. And we said, I'm going to go back for my specific topic once in a while because I enjoy my specific topic. But Matt, I'll give it to you. I understand what reality is trying to do, and I understand no real world could do it. Hey, look, if you want to create your own simplified conspiracy map, go for it, but only do it until you get fed up and until you write so many thousands of things down on your paper that you say, wait a second, this can't really happen. There's no way all these connections can be related in such a way. And looking at this, it gave me the idea that there could be an alternate version of Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting. Instead of solving the calculus problems and the high-level math, he could have erased the math equation and put up his own conspiracy maps. He'd have some low-level conspiracy degenerate like us sweeping up the floors and waxing and polishing the floors it wasn't Harvard, it was MIT, I believe. They went to a Harvard bar, but I believe he was in MIT. Erase the math problem and draw a conspiracy map every night. That would be something that I'd like to see. Once again, I apologize to the old guard, but for those that weren't here when we had our conspiracy epiphanies, our conspiracy milestone moments, where we started to learn about reality itself and no longer take the bait, I need to do this for their sake. Let's go back in time, stoke the fire, get a drink, put your feet up. Let's go back to yesteryear, January of 2020, the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash, which was completely legitimate. And if in any way you question any part of it, including the inflated tire, you have severe problems and you're one of those people. I am absolutely disgusted by anybody that would question the legitimacy of what the news presented regarding this event and the inflated tire. But let's go. It's the same scene from 2001. A Space Odyssey? No. The 7-Eleven job application. Okay, let's. This is for the newbies. We had a milestone or an epiphany type of experience, because right at the end of this event, all the conspiracy started to come again, all the relation, all the strange things. And then, of course, we didn't know at the time what really would be coming regarding the 2020 See the VME event, what they would bring in terms of just the whole world and what it would bring to the world in March, April, and May of that same year. Then we saw that this event tied into that event. And we said, at this point, wait a second. This is impossible. This is ridiculous. And you remember, old guard, you could say it. They know. I floated it out to all of you, and I said, Do you think there will ever be, for the rest of our time on what you call Earth, will there ever be a gigantic mega news story that isn't just completely embedded and riddled with conspiracy, where those types of people that question, like us, if you want to jump into it, where there'll be all sorts of different directional breadcrumbs that could lead us away from, let's say, the official story? I said, do you think it will ever happen? Because we see it happening at the time. I'm saying we see it happening during the helicopter crash. But these types of events and big news stories are going to happen for the rest of our lives. Will there ever be a news story where it's just kind of what they say it is, and there's nowhere to go, and there's nothing to look into, and there's no alternative version or weird catastrophe thespian saying something different? And I said, no, this is a symptom of reality itself. And most of you said, yeah, there'll never be a major event that's just not riddled with conspiracy. And nobody could ever have said that unless they saw at the highest level of the org chart that this is something that reality itself is pulling off, which means, of course, fake world. Not a world that came from a big bang and 2 amino acids humping on the back of a piece of granite. It's fake world. So what has played out since we had that epiphany moment and you cried on my shoulder and I cried on yours? Every single major event has been laced and riddled with conspiracy. Every one. And thousands of different layers. If you look at major ones like the C, the V, me of March, April, May that would be coming. And then we have the Captain Kirk event, the Captain Kirk and Spock event. And that is hundreds of different layers of conspiracy. And I mean, this is first grade at this point, guys. If a truth researcher is missing this at this point, they are just gone out to lunch. I mean, it's so easy to see that you can't have mega news story after mega news story that is all these different interpretations as the conspiracy researcher starts looking into it. It's impossible. And some idiots out here still think it's the secret societies layering every single event in 1,000 different ways. Are you freaking kidding me? Guys, Midnight Reality can get really heavy. I think I need to do more of this, inserting 1-minute comedy breaks into Midnight Reality before we return to what we were talking about. And this is perfect because I just found this. This relates, of course, to the 7-Eleven job application event in 2001. What particularly happened to, you have a choice of hobo code, what happened to the pentagram or the hexagon? Your choice of hobo code. It's AA number 77, not Alcoholics Anonymous 77, American Airlines, flown by, you know, Hanny. Who would name somebody Hanny? Into the side of the pentagram or hexagon. And this image, it shows some AI figure just standing there gawking at it. I guess they didn't have no stable diffusion. They didn't have no mid-journey back then. This was the best they could do. Why is there some AI person in a skin suit walking by? I didn't know pedestrians, you could stroll your baby right by the side of the pentagram or the hexagon. But what's really funny is in the red, it shows the major damage is in red and the minor damage is in blue. And I bet some college professor somewhere actually asked their students to recreate this. It says, for your final grade, shade the major damage in red and the minor damage in blue. And of course, as usual, Matt, that's how they present their duality. I know, they love their blue and their red. They're really creepy fucks, these weird-ass creatures that we try to figure out. Why don't they just, if they're listening to me right now, just leave us alone. Don't you get tired of all the tricks? Leave the real spiritual beings alone. Don't you get tired of it, playing your little roles? Really low creatures led by Anderson Cooper, aren't you? Sorry, back to what we were talking about. It's incredible once you go back into the depths of consciousness and try to remember what you went through in 2020. In this case, we're talking about the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash bot. We're talking about a real and legitimate news item bot, the Kobe Bryant tragic helicopter crash. It's amazing all the things that you forget, but that will come right back. And I remember there was this weird tribute on the Grammys, but this is not, I guess that event is off to the left. But the Boys to Men, remember that band? Boys to Men, Motown, Philly, they kept doing these tributes because they had that song, It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. You know, they had that tribute to friends that had died or whatever. So they have these, I guess, where was the guy with the real deep voice? They left him out? He's not getting paid? There's just the 3 of them? There was 4 of them. They did these weird tributes The weirdest, the Grammys, I think that again, that's the little image. Is that when Alicia Keys there? They did this tribute. It was the next day or 2 days later, and I remember watching it. And just 2 days in, we really didn't understand what was going on with this Kobe Bryant event. We didn't understand how large the quote, conspiracy would get. Okay, we didn't realize all the breadcrumbs that would be coming, even leading to the event that would come 3 or 4 months later. But I remember just thinking, this is very strange. Like, what are the Grammys even doing talking about a sports star or a basketball player? Of course, we weren't completely oblivious to notnilC in 2020. I've been talking about it for probably 5 years before that. But it was just, we hadn't quite figured out what was going on here yet. And for anybody knew what was going on, somehow reality or the screen or the outer ring, for its grimoire, its spell, it is a weird bird, this thing that we study. It needed to weave the two events together. It needed to make connections, as it does in a lot of cases. There are huge connections between the 2020 event of See the VME and 2001 job application. But in this event, the completely legitimate Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. It needed to tie this in to what would be coming in See the VME 2020, April, May. And we saw about 8-9 months, we saw all these connections being made, not particularly or in this example, Boys to Men, but it was just a way of making sure the world made this Kobe Bryant helicopter crash into a news story that was 100 times bigger than it should have been. That was notnilC's purpose in all of this. 100 times. Okay, a sports athlete dies in a helicopter crash. Okay, a day or two of news and it just goes away. It doesn't really matter whether it would be Wilt Chamberlain or whatever. The magnitude of the event, you and I could see was not commensurate with what the event was or what it should be. People like us started saying something very strange is going on here. They're taking an event which should be a 2 and they're pushing it up to a 10. It needed to do this for some reason. It weaves a weird ass spell and grimoire over reality in the Ship of Fools. It is a weird ass bird, this thing that we try to figure out. I mean, just every day wake up and say, thank whatever that we are not the same as this thing or part of it, or as far as we know, serving it, or we're doing our best to separate it from it. I mean, the worst thing, could you imagine waking up, stepping out of bed, knowing you've been 15 years under the dragon's wing serving this thing here? So let's not focus too much on this particular example. I mean, Boys to Men and their tributes as they went around for a week or two, they were happy to get paid again. They thought they were over with Motown Philly back again. We're going to get paid again. They don't care. They were thrilled. What about the fourth guy with the deep voice? It's, and all the Philly steaks you can eat. They leave that fucker home. It's just the three of them, I guess, going around. Or maybe he's a truther and he says, I won't participate on your little Ship of Fools escapade. Maybe the guy with the deep voice is one of us, maybe. This is just one little aspect of how they pushed the news story up to a 10 out of 10. They turned the volume up artificially. We could see right through it. Again, to your friends, family, cousin, neighbors, just was all normal. That the death of a sports star became, for at least a month, one of the biggest stories of all time, when it should have been 90% less than that. It was all normal to the people around us. Everybody on the Ship of Fools follows the frequency, and almost everything notnilC does from the outer screen is a test of those on the Ship of Fools, which most of them are not NPCs, but they're also real spiritual beings. They're not all serving it. They're not all under the dragon's wing, but most of the real spiritual beings here that are like us are, of course, on the Ship of Fools, believing in every bit of what Anderson Cooper puts forth. I mean, just trying to get a better and better cabin inside the depths of the Ship of Fools. Don't think if people are falling for it, they're NPCs. No. Most people like us, of course, are falling for every bit of it. The notnilC is laughing all the way to the spiritual bank. But according to the no consequences people, it's all for nothing. Doesn't matter. Those people that take up bigger and bigger cabins and suites inside the Ship of Fools and get late night visits from Vicky. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're fully spiritually protected. Doesn't matter how much into the depths they go, how fooled they are, how much they serve it to the no consequences people. They're just fully protected. Oh boy, yeah. I've come around to their point a little bit more, but I'm never gonna. I'll meet them halfway, but I won't go there. It's working too hard, in my opinion, for there to be no consequences. Just, it doesn't matter how much I serve it. Fuck it. It's kind of like, I mean, it's similar to the notion of a lot of evangelical Christians that you could just do whatever. You could be a soprano your whole life and take them out. Torture them, whatever it may be. On The Sopranos, bot. And then, I don't know, with one day left, just fall to your knees and take the evangelical position is this. And in many cases, take in Jesus and you're good. It doesn't, I'm sorry, I don't really see that, but that's just me. And then when you remember one thing you thought you forgot about forever, it leads to another. Of course, Boyz II Men was brought back because of the one song, the tribute to the death of a friend or a family. It's so hard to say goodbye. Anyway, then I'm starting to remember the video. Like, they go to a gravesite and he pours the liquor, pour the alcohol out on the damn ground. And I never understood that. I just want to talk about this for about 20 seconds. That's a waste of good alcohol, man. I think even in a Rocky movie, he leaves a little pint of whiskey for Paulie's grave. That's a waste of good alcohol, man. You think the dead are going to drink your alcohol? You pour it into the ground. All you're doing is killing worms. There's a worm, right? You poured 90 proof alcohol. A worm just got settled in for the night. You poured it all over you. You scorched his back. You think the dead are going to drink your alcohol and your brown liquor? Okay, stop pouring alcohol into the ground. Do the gangs do this? I don't know. I ain't never been in no gang. But either way, I don't care who does it. Stop pouring good liquor into the damn dirt. Okay, this is what I really wanted to talk about. 21 minutes in and you're just getting to what you really wanted to talk about? Yeah, I needed a little bit of setup, especially in showing you the conspiracy map. And for anybody about to leave or about to type something, no, it's not about Micah Parsons' contract dispute. However, it is about how notnilC uses sports controversy now. It's 10 out of 10 in 2025. Sports controversy is off the charts compared to what it was just 10 years ago. To us, we notice a symptom or another tactic of the screen or outer ring of reality. No, righteous truthers, it's not. Go ahead, get out of the way. You watch sports. It's not about sports. Stop it. Go to the back of the room, put the dunce cap on. It's not about, here's what happened. Okay, just to, if anybody's new, whatever. I made a video 4 or 5 months ago, 6 months ago, this summer, the Micah Parsons contract dispute with Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones. And the heart of the video, I'll try to keep it 30 seconds or less, is the notnilC just needs endless controversy in sports or in anything. And this is just fulfilling a role, especially in the slow summer months when the NFL isn't playing. And it was basically, even if it's real, it's fake. Where the notnilC needs this controversy. Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones, everybody on the Ship of Fools, everybody on its download and its frequency is fulfilling the needs of what notnilC wants. Back in the day, I mean, again, it was Philadelphia has 2 sports talk radio stations. 2 that right now, every single caller, 24/7, 365, Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles, football. Nothing. Forget the Sixers, the NBA basketball. Forget the Flyers that are also playing in hockey. Every call on 2 sports stations for just weeks and weeks and weeks, it's all 100% Philadelphia Eagles. But what do you do in the summer? Well, the Phillies made a run towards the playoffs, so there was some Phillies talk. But you have this. There has to be a sports controversy that fills the void. And it's a great example of, even if it's real, it's fake. If you back up far enough, it's fake. The notnilC needed this controversy, and I'm going to get onto other specific topics. I'm not going to stick here on the Micah Parsons thing. This is just to remember what we did 4 or 5 or 6 months ago, whenever it was. When was this summer? I mean, I guess let's just say 4 or 5 months ago. Okay. It needed this. Because there was a distraction void in the summer needed to be fulfilled for sports fans or people that's what they call themselves, which is short, of course, for fanatic. A Pootie Tang Award on that. Somebody asked, "What's this Pootie? You got to fill me in, Matt." If you just arrived here, I'm sorry you don't know every bit of hobo code. It takes a little while. Put your feet up and be patient. And then the same person said, "Well, tell me who Greg is." No. I'm sorry. I'm not going to hear it every time I mention the word Greg, fill every new person as to who Greg is. Go get some brown liquor, put your feet up and relax. Eventually you'll understand it all. So then it's even if it's real, it's fake. It's fake if you back up far enough. The Not nilC inserted this event to keep the distraction going. If I were to be best friends with Micah Parsons, I'd say, Micah, you know you're just fulfilling what Not nilC wants. Tell me about the frequency that you tune yourself to every morning when you get up. And he'd be, of course, you know what I'm going to say. He's like, what are you talking about? He wouldn't have any idea what I'm talking about, of course. Jerry Jones wouldn't have any idea that this I'm fulfilling the wishes of some outer screen and some frequency. These conspiracy people out of their minds. Of course they would know what I'm talking about, but who would be right? Of course, we know this is what's happening because the reality gives itself away and it keeps turning its volume up every single year. There's no real world that could keep doing this. It gives itself away. Its presentations become more and more over the top, more and more ridiculous, more and more distracting. So, okay, let me collect my thoughts. What are the current sports distractions that it must insert? And the people that are playing the roles, again, they're really believing there's a dispute. They're not in any way understanding they're fulfilling the role of what the frequency of this reality, the dark frequency, Not nilC wants. All right, let me go over here and insert this before continuing. I don't know much about this person, Terence McKenna. We all have heard the name. We're at different degrees of familiarity. Oh, he said degrees. Oh, my God, he said degrees. Different levels of familiarity with Terence McKenna. Again, I don't want to hear from anybody. Oh, Matt, he was this, he was that. I don't care. You know what? For the time frame of which he was thinking about reality, there's some pretty big, insightful thinking. Not across the board. I haven't listened to all thousands of hours like all the Manly P. Hall lectures. Little bits and pieces. I heard him recently in a video. I don't know how it was presented to me or what channel. He's talking about connectivity and how reality itself has to strive for more and more connectivity. He was relating the theme to why it seems like time is speeding up. And regarding what I'm going to talk about, or what I've been talking about, regarding there can't be even a 2-month lull in the sports world where there can be no controversy. The Not nilC has to, we're just going to talk about the sports world in this one example. Obviously, the Not nilC does these same things or these same sorts of tactics across the board. But to me, it's most noticeable in the sports world. Every time I get in the car with Dad or we go to his doctor or whatever, it's sports talk. So I hear what they're talking about. There's always a controversy where 7, 8, 10 years ago, things happened during the football season. I'm saying it's always a controversy. The Not nilC can't go back. Reality gives itself away. So Terence McKenna was talking about this need for connectivity. Excuse me. Guzzling Coke Zero is not the best idea before starting the next segment. Connectivity, whatever that means, we're related to potentially the singularity or more things jammed into every minute, more things jammed into every second. And he's talking about connectivity before the internet. Literally before the internet, or before the internet became what it is. I mean, that's pretty insightful, no matter who you think or what you believe this person to be. I mean, he's saying things decades sometimes before we had a clue. So, yeah, a little bit of props. I don't want to hear it. I mentioned Jordan Maxwell. Matt, don't you know that he's a Mason, right? I don't want to hear that bullshit. As I've said, if Satan was giving lectures up here at the Brightside Farm, I'd go listen. If Satan had a podcast, I'd tune in. I'd say, that's bullshit. Oh, but what Satan just said there is very interesting. I'd take little pieces away, and then I'd know enough or be confident enough in my own discernment to take away what's interesting to me and leave behind what was bullshit. This guy's talking about reality itself, the need for a further and further connectivity, he called it. I don't know exactly what he means, but a turning up the volume, more connections, more things jammed into every minute, more things jammed into every second. Reality itself needs to strive for this. And this is a great explanation, even though Matt, you didn't understand it yourself and didn't give a good summary of his. I didn't, because I don't. But it explains to a degree what's happening where you put on, if I were to put somebody into a deep sleep for 10 years and you listen to sports talk And again, this is the topic at hand today. I'm sorry, I can't talk about everything. And then 10 years later, they wake up saying, the person would say, or if it was a 10-year jump, or they were in a coma or something, they would notice that this reality can't even go one day without a sports controversy. And because the pendulum always has to go in one direction and everything flows in one way, another way reality gives itself away, well, what will it do in the future? It can't jam 12 or 15 controversies a day and then 5 years later, 25 sports controversies a day. How will it continue to turn up the volume? And if the volume can be turned up no more, can it be satisfied at the level it's achieved? This is, or will it break? Will it go blue screen? See what I'm saying? There's something related to what Terence McKenna talked about in terms of connectivity related to this. Now let me get back to the very fun and exciting sports examples. Remember, a pendulum that only swings in one direction, it doesn't swing back. That's a giveaway of a fake world. The controversy, particularly in our sports examples, has to increase year by year, month by month. And as I just mentioned in the last segment, it seems like it can never go back the other way. Now I want to talk about the A.J. Brown controversy in Philadelphia. Let's get it out of the way, righteous truthers. Go ahead. Let's do 30s. Go ahead. Get it. You place your comment. You type your comment. Oh, I don't watch football. You watch football. I threw my television set out. Righteous Truther Award. We're talking about reality itself, you dopes. I'm not talking about a specific sports example. Plug this into anything. This is what reality does. But get it out of your system, righteous truthers. I knew Matt still watches football. A.J. Brown. It started to brew last year, but the notnilC needs this controversy. And now the Eagles have only 2 losses. They're one of the best teams in football, but this guy every week tweets and complains, I'm not getting the ball. I'm not getting the ball. Throw me the ball. I'm not getting. And then there's the point is, it's to split, as usual, divide and conquer, to split and divide the population. Even forget over things that seem consequential, like race and politics seem consequential. Much more consequential compared to this. It's split now the city of Philadelphia in 2. You're either in the Jalen Hurts camp, you support the quarterback, and A.J. Brown's not getting open, or you're with A.J. No, it's Jalen. Jalen's the problem. It's everything it does. Even in terms, when will it stop? This is a reality giveaway. Will it try to split the city of Philadelphia someday in terms of what sort of cupcake? You like chocolate or vanilla cupcakes? It'll try to have riots in the street over what form of cupcake you like. Who's calling me? What the heck? I'll be right back. It divides and conquer every chance it gets. Sorry. So if I were to be a sports reporter, and maybe I could get a press pass, how does the Philly captain get that press pass? If I could speak to A.J. Brown and say, A.J., are you comfortable in your role, what you're doing to support notnilC's agendas in terms of facilitating and promoting the distraction? A.J. Brown would go, he wouldn't have any idea what I'm talking about, of course. Yeah, I use that example over and over. But this is, again, even if it's real, it's fake. It's real at a certain level if you go down to a certain level. Jalen Hurts thinks he's in the middle of it. He's not very friendly with his old friend A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown really believes he's not getting... They're not just acting out. First Grade Truther, I think, thinks they're like getting cue cards and they're acting out like WWF and WWE, like they're wrestlers. No, they believe in every bit of their little squabbles and controversy. But at the highest level, it's fake. The notnilC needs these controversies because somehow the controversies just keep coming and they keep exponentially going up in number. It's not all coordinated with actors. I mean, does the First Grade Truther really believe that? It's reality itself. And it is now like off the charts regarding sports. We're going to talk about the coaching controversies in college football. It's at the point where how can it keep turning the volume up? That's what I'm a little bit concerned about. If it needs to keep turning the volume up and it can't squeeze more controversies into the day anymore, or, okay, fine, there's Matt, give me another Eagles controversy. Okay, fine, there aren't 50 a day, but it's 1,000 times more than it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, there was sports talk radio in Philadelphia. And you know what the talk was? It was, I think they should run the ball more. Or it was just about the X's and O's on this. And I think our defensive backfield's letting us down and tactics. And now it's controversy and personalities. And it keeps turning the volume up. and it seems like it keeps having to turn the volume up. What if, when it can't turn it up anymore? Does it break? Does reality crack? What happens to the outer ring of the screen? I'm telling you, there's something to think about here. I don't think I'll have the answer for you in this video, but it's just endless controversy. But if those that threw their television out and don't listen to this, of course, I don't listen much either. But it's like you just go every time you tune in, there's some sort of, it's people, controversy and disputes, and it's not about even what happens on the field anymore. It's becoming like a soap opera, but this is what the notnilC needs. You and I can see this is coming from reality itself, and that's why we talk about it here. The controversy this year in college football, of course, are the fired coaches. And it started with Penn State, and now there's 5 or 6 major programs that are going to need coaches. And was the head coach of the University of Florida Gators fired, or is he just still in the hot seat? And is this coach going to go here or leave his school and go here? It's endless, it's absurd, and even if it's real, it's fake. We see it, no one else can. Started with Penn State and James Franklin. They go, oh, he can't win a big game, got to fire him. $50 million buyout to get rid of him. $50 million to get rid of him. What if they wanted to get rid of you at McDonald's or something? You flip fries or whatever. You put those fries down in the oil, and to get rid of you costs them $50 million. And you just start, maybe you would just start making the fries bad on purpose. Oh, I forgot to drop them in the oil. The person broke their tooth off because it was a raw potato. I forgot to drop it in the oil. You'd start screwing up the fries on purpose. Then it would cost McDonald's $50 million to get rid of you. Why would you? It's all fake. But at the levels if you were to talk to the chancellor or provost, whatever that is at Penn State, and the athletic coordinator, and they would have their reasons. They would think, well, we gave James Franklin a 10-year contract because he proved himself that he can win most of games, and this is the way of the world now, Matt. You have to lock these people up for 10 years or whatever. No, you might have to lock up Mike Trout, or a major sports athlete that has unique talents. But some 2-bit coach that never won anything at Vanderbilt and never won anything at Penn State, no, I'm sorry. You don't have to lock him up at 10 years. It's all notnilC. It's all everybody following the vibration and the script of this reality in order to create controversy. If James Franklin was at the end of his let's say they only gave him 5 years, and it was towards the end, or 4 years, and they said, James, you can't win a big game. You're out of here like shit through a goose. And there was no buyout, and then there would be no controversy. Well, there'd be a firing, and that would make headlines for a few days. But it was the $50 million buyout that caused the major controversy, that gave notnilC what it really needed for a million people around the world to talk about. Oh my God, this is appalling, a $50 million buyout. The notnilC needed that. And James Franklin is the recipient of that, putting his hands out for the $50 million buyout. But the notnilC needed the 10-year contract in order for this controversy to be facilitated. Matt, are you saying everything like this is some sort of reality game where the players aren't even the players involved, meaning the actors on stage, of the coach or the athletic director, the chancellor, provost, or wide receiver, they're not even aware of how they're serving notnilC? Of course. That's how the frequency and the download of this reality works. I'll say it again. They would have no idea what I'm talking about. But who would be right? Where does the evidence line up? This year, it's the coaching. And at the basic level, any first grader and second grade, we went to an elementary school, or me, you, and Greg, we got somebody off the street, and we booked us into the room. We'd say, why are they giving 8 to 10-year contracts? These people are unproven. They're nobodies. They're not athletes with special talents. They're 2-bit losers like James Franklin or whatever. And if anything were real, if I was the provost of Penn State, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell that is, like somebody that wanders around checking the food in the dining halls or something, I'd say, well, James, we'd like to have you here at Penn State, and we're prepared to pay a good amount of money. For some reason, out of the blue, college or coaches are making about 8 to 10 million a year now. I don't know how that happened, and it just came out of the blue about 10 years ago for no reason. But we'll forget that little reality anomaly. James, we'll give you 4 or 5 years. Well, I'm not taking it. Well, you're not taking it? Well, fuck off. Go fuck yourself. Go to McDonald's. Get the fuck out of here. Go be the head coach at Marshall. This is Penn State. This is a pretty good job, James. We're going to pay you $8 million a year, but we're not going to get into a long-term. See, if anything were real, this is how it would go. I mean, the second graders down at the elementary school could figure this out. James, we're not going to get into some ridiculous long contract. We don't know what you'll be like. We need to be able to get out if it's not working. Does this make sense to you? Isn't this like a second grader would negotiate the same sorts of things? It was like trading packs of gum and baseball cards back and forth. We'll pay you $8 million a year. but just for 4 or 5 years. Well, that's not good enough. I'm sorry, it's not good enough. Go fuck yourself. That's what would happen. We're the only ones that can see it. Reality itself has when I say it's broken down or it's derailed, anybody new here, I'm not in any way kidding, being literal. The reality itself has completely broken down. Anybody should be able to see how false this world is at this point. Let's look at this picture related to the same topic. College football head coaching shuffle. Are fans and boosters delusional? And when I saw this just a few minutes ago, the first thing I thought, maybe there are no boosters. They say, well, Matt, these things are happening because the big money and the boosters and all the billionaires that went to the University of Indiana, the University of Northwestern or Miami or Penn State or Michigan or Notre Dame, all this big money. And it's true to a degree, of course, that those people give money. But you know what? Maybe it's just simply notnilC injected money. And when I say, are there really boosters? Yeah, there's really big money that thinks that coming in influencing the football program. But maybe if you add up all the money and all the individual gifts and grants per school, maybe it's just $20, $30, $40 million a year. And they need $180 million, for example, for whatever reason. Well, where does the rest of that money come from? Where does the Treasury or the Fed get their money? Maybe it's all the same thing. It's going to inject whatever money it needs to keep the controversies going. In other words, notnilC wants coaches to be paid $100 million more than they should. The notnilC wants the coaches to get 10 and 12-year contracts when they should be getting 4-year contracts because it becomes the fuel of controversy. And that is what the notnilC needs from the real spiritual beings that participate in its games. So these people, they think it's them. They're huge benefactors if you consider the $100 million or more these coaches are going to make. They think it's their greatness. They think it's their genius. Some little schmuck like James Franklin. Oh, he did a solid job at Penn State for 8, 10 years, and they lost every single big game they could have won, and won every game they were supposed to win. It was a solid job. But there's no genius there. I mean, literally, Greg and I talk about it all the time. And the guy was like, the guy that just came here that doesn't know the hobo, who's this Greg? Oh, I'm going to explain every single time who Greg is. Greg and I, for sure, could, you just with a few weeks of training, could do better than most of these coaches. There's no doubt about it. Especially complete degenerates like the offensive coordinator at South Carolina who was just fired, Mike Shula. Greg's still bitching about that. Anyway, sorry. These coaches are not genius. Let me tell you what. They're just at the right place at the right time, making, if they're there over 10 years, at this point, they'll make over $100 million. Believing in their own greatness, believing their own genius, they're simply tools of notnilC in terms of being rewarded with that money. And remember what I'm saying. If these salaries are reasonable and the lengths of the contracts are reasonable, there's no controversy. There's a firing here and there, and people grumble for a few days, and then it goes away. And the notnilC can't have that. Its controversy, its distraction meter always has to go up. The volume has to keep turning up. Can't go in the other direction. It's a false reality. At least the main spiritual adversary here has to give itself away. But when my family and friends stumble upon this video, they think I'm just crazy or something, just making this shit up. They look out the world. They look out the window at the world, windows of the world, up the top of WTC 1 or 2 windows. They look out. They just think it's all normal. It's the way it should be. Matt, don't you know? This is basically when a society and culture gets too large with too much money, too many people, the complexities come along for the ride, Matt. This is what a modern society becomes. It's just all normal to them. They don't see a hidden hand. Maybe we're delusional, but I don't think so. Because most of what we notice about reality, if we just are a little bit patient, say 3 to 5 years, it proves everything we say proves itself out times 100. The little things we noticed we might consider to be small distractions, 5 years later are gigantic distractions. Every one of our predictions, for the most part, comes true. So who's right and who's wrong? I think we have more merit in terms of the way we interpret reality than the idiots on the ship of fools. But that's just me. Then you have the notnilC players. actors, but not believing they're getting cue cards, of course, believing every bit of what they're doing, not understanding any bit of what we would say about notnilC. We'll look at a few examples. Stephen A. Smith, one of the most obnoxious individuals anybody will ever meet during the course of your lifetime. If you're unfortunate enough to meet him, his entire role is to create controversy. Now, Matt, he knows his role. Okay, I hear you. He understands when he gets the $100 million contract from ESPN, he understands what sort of behaviors prior facilitated, say, the $100 million contract. Just like the dog or the cat learns if it does a certain trick, it'll get a treat. It's that simple. He understands instinctively certain types of behaviors are rewarded. Just the way that Ken and I in Penn State, we saw there's an octopus that learned what's to go to the red side or the white side or the blue side to get a treat. The octopus learned very quickly where to touch what color to get the treat. That's all he's doing. So his obnoxiousness gets worse and worse and worse. But if, again, one last time, well, not one last time, I'm going to say this in every single video for as long as you're here, 10 more years. If you were to go to him, Stephen A. Smith, are you comfortable serving notnilC? He would have, of course, he'd think we're crazy. Of course he's serving notnilC. He's rewarded, literally makes over $100 million, I don't know, per year as a contract or whatever, just to create controversy. The latest thing, here we go, what is it, a few days ago or yesterday, he's calling of course, his race is always involved, and the quarterback for the New England Patriots, I think, is a white guy. I haven't watched a Patriots game since Tom Brady left, and he's a liar. He's a liar. All this talk and screaming, he's a liar. He's calling him a liar, and then there's this, and then all these people start talking about what Stephen A. Smith says, and we can see it very clearly. These are pawns to fulfill the role of the notnilC. They believe in their own genius. They believe it's them. They believe that they're doing something special and they're not serving anything. Who would be right? I mean, it's ridiculous. Stephen A., if you're listening, and I know you have been a subscriber in the past, you're just a buffoon at the right place at the right time serving notnilC. It's not you, my man. I'm sorry. It's not that good. Here's another one of these idiots, Pat McAfee, who's recently been called like the most powerful person at ESPN because he can criticize the top management or the president of Disney and ESPN, and he's never punished because his show is so popular. He sits around in his tank top or drinks his beer. And the show's become more and more degenerate. Remember the old Sports Center from 1999 or 2000 with people in suits and men and women in suits and formal wear talking about sports, and every once in a while they would tell a joke, or Stuart Scott, remember, could be a little he could be a little clever. That person was as cool as the underside of the pillow, and okay, fine, it was cool, right? I mean, Sports Center, and then it like everything else, but we're the only ones that see it in a certain way. Everything else, it devolves into this idiot sitting around his tank top. He's not always in a tank top, but he takes his shirt off a lot, and he's on college game day. And what's so funny is he thinks it's him. He believes in his own genius. He believes he's doing something that is unreplicated, unparalleled. Only he could bring such entertainment value to sports. He looks in the mirror and strokes himself. And sorry, I won't go any further with that. He believes in it. It's him. It's his own genius. What the notnilC likes about him most, of course, is his ability when the notnilC needs to call on him to create and cause controversy, which is the primary distraction for the masses. One of its main plays in the playbook against the real spiritual being, a run up the middle. They can go to him and create distraction and controversy whenever they need to. And again, the first grade truther thinks he goes back and waits at the window, the notnilC Illuminati Control Center window, the Control Center Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island. He waits at the window for his cue cards to come out, and he raps at the window. Hi, I'm Pat McAfee here. Give me my cue cards for the week. Tell me exactly what I'm supposed to say. He's on the frequency in the download. He's not getting any cue cards. But when the notnilC or the outer screen needs a controversy from him, it will create one through him, and without him being any aware of what's going on. And these endless podcasts on YouTube and all these other places pop up, all fulfilling their individual role to distract a certain segment of whatever the topic is. In this case, we're talking about sports. Several presentations Jason Whitlock has made, I've liked. I don't tune in every day or whatever. Fearless with Jason Whitlock. But you can see, anybody that studies reality the way we do, we can see what his role is for notnilC. It's to appeal to the sports fan, but with a conservative bend. And because he's a black man, he can get away with a lot more than what anybody else could say. He can call out Stephen A. Smith for race baiting because he himself is a black man. He appeals to mostly white conservatives because of some of the things he talks about, although he will from time to time fall back and talk about racial issues in the way that we're quite frankly getting really tired of. You know, we should be real tired of the same old stuff at this point. If you want to get over it and y'all want to get along, you leave the constant pointing out of skin color. You leave it behind. You don't constantly. We should do a whole video on this next week how the notnilC just endlessly points out the differences amongst us, and everybody just thinks that's normal. And you say that's by design. You say it over the Thanksgiving table. This is all on purpose. They just think you're crazy. It's just normal that every single documentary has to point out the racial incident that happened, or the first African American to do this or accomplish this. Endless calling out, endless segmentation, endless saying this group is different than you. A focus group in a first grade classroom could make all of this go away. The first graders would say, well, if we want to be all equal and get along, we should stop pointing out the endless differences and stop pointing out that this month is for this person and this group and this oppressed group and this day's for this oppressed group and this person's different and you're the first person of your color to break through and do this and you're the first person of your color to do that. If this is the first grader, you're managing this focus group. You say, oh, tell me more about that, little Johnny. I'll give you another slice of pizza. Oh boy, that's a pizza. That's a you know what reference. Oh God, I knew he was some weird dude. It's like, I'll give you more candy. I'll give you another candy. Keep talking. Well, we stop pointing out differences and just if everybody's the same, then everybody's the same. And the ills of the past are ills in the past, and we just go along together. And there ain't no more diversity managers at your work. And see, it's the opposite. It's all this bullshit. How'd this turn into I don't know how it turned into this, but all this bullshit is done to saying this has to be done for equality when it's actually all this bullshit infrastructure like diversity managers. It's all done at this point to create the racial problems. Sure, well, Matt, it's never needed. No, it was needed in Alabama in 1962. Yeah, fine. I'll give you that. It was needed when there was a separate water fountain. Fine. You want to go back there again? Fine. It's not needed now. It's all done to create a problem that actually, if it was allowed to go away, would have gone away for the most part. That's not to say there wouldn't be little pockets. You have to say it every time, Matt. There wouldn't be little pockets of races. Of course there would be. So what? Oh, God. There was a person in a waiting room in a doctor's office that didn't see my humble, true, nice nature. And he said, you're an asshole. He couldn't see who I really was. There's always going to be differences amongst and between people. He said, you're an asshole. And I cried in front of him. I said, you're not really seeing the real me. Don't call me that. Don't call me that. I'm not an asshole. I want you to take it back. I want you to take it back. And he wouldn't take it back. And it's bothered me. I haven't been able to sleep since. But, okay, this is very simple. And Jason Whitlock, he's very smart. He can be clever, but his role is very clear if you understand the outer ring of reality or notnilC. If we this is the last exam question for your final grade here. If we ask Jason, what does he think about serving notnilC, he would say, what? He would say, get out of my office, you friggin' conspiracy theorist lunatic. Thanks for listening.